Welcome back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks for joining us for a very special episode. Riley, tell everybody.
It's our birthday. We are 15 years old today.
Yay! The most exciting news that has happened in our lives, that's for sure. Biggest
15
milestone,
fucking years.
15 fucking years. And on top of that, this is also season 1 finale of Muse on the Mic. And I can't believe we've made it a whole season. Riley, this is wild.
It really is. I remember the day starting off in my kitchen, terrified. Guys, I'm sure you've seen like a bit of our journey here, but I was like petrified to be on camera. And yeah, I still get a little nervous, but I love doing this. We have so much fun together. And it's like the highlight of our week is Wednesdays.
Absolutely. It's amazing the transition. I mean, personally, professionally, all of the things. But like, I'm pretty comfortable most of the time on like public speaking, not necessarily on camera, but public speaking. Both of us were shitting our pants. Speaking. But we had big news. We were super excited. And yet,
Yeah,
the nerves of just the whole we're already out, but it felt like coming out again
yeah,
almost, and just
yeah.
more exposure. It was nerve-wracking and terrifying, and yet best decision we've ever made. I've loved every
Well, I
moment.
mean, how many episodes deep are we now? We probably should have.
Something like 50.
Yeah, like it's wild.
Yeah, I
And I
know.
remember often thinking, are we really going to have stuff to talk about every week? But we do. Like it just keeps flowing and rolling and evolving. And it's been a wild first year or first season, I should say, of Muse on the Mic,
Yeah,
and 15 years of Muse. I'm
and
so proud of that.
15 years of Muse. I'm so proud of us. Not that, I mean, we could have started a podcast about anything, right? But the
Mhm.
15 years is really the bread and butter of Muse on the Mic. And had it not been for all those memories, all those crazy experiences, the good, the bad, and a lot of ugly,
Oh, my love.
we wouldn't have as much juicy shit to talk about. And I know our original timeline was like, hopefully we'll be here once a week. We don't want to overpromise too many
Right.
episodes, twice a month for sure, dip our toes. And you know what? We went balls to the wall. We're pumping out 2 episodes a week. Patreon is full of 20 some odd exclusive episodes, which, guys, if you're not on the Patreon, you have to subscribe to the Patreon. It's $9 a month. And I can't say it'll change your life, but it'll absolutely add more to your life because it's saucy, it's spicy, it's risque, it's expose. I know our final couple Patreon episodes are really scandalous. So if you're not on the Patreon, definitely jump over there. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. And you know what? We have to thank our viewers and subscribers because we wouldn't be here if they weren't tuning in every week. Even those that are doing it on a VPN that aren't subscribing, we see you. And even if you hate us, we're glad that you're here because this has just been the best thing that we have done in many, many years in terms of our professional careers, as far as I'm concerned. And I love doing it with you.
I know. Well, this whole journey, I mean, if it wasn't for you, there'd be no Muse. Like we are super team, like just bossing it together all the time. And there's no one else I would want to be on this ride with. Like Emily and I's relationship, I don't want to get too sentimental here, but I'll tell you something about Emily. She is the most unjudgmental friend. Like there
No.
is no judgment with her. I would tell her shit. I wouldn't even tell Jesus. She is just that rock.
Oh,
Really
I
is.
love you.
I love you.
That's beautiful. You do get me all in my feels immediately. It takes 2 seconds. You know what? I've enjoyed seeing your growth. I mean, there's been growth on both our ends for 15 years, right? We were
Mhm.
we were babies when we started this wild ride, but seeing you come into your own comfortable on camera has been really beautiful to witness. And I feel like you trust yourself more and you trust your knowledge and your expertise because you're absolutely an expert, not just in this industry, but in regards of relationships with women You middleman so many things that other people would have conflict with, or when personalities kind of rub the wrong way, you're always there to step up and just make sure everyone's on the same page. And I feel like between the podcast and Muse, it absolutely, it's kind of like platforms are growth. There would be no growth without that. And
Right.
on a personal note, not only do I not judge, but I also overshare with you all the time, and you're equally a vault of secrets. And I love that about you. We have some that will never, there will not be a Patreon tier high enough that will ever go into public knowledge. And I guarantee you there are some more of those kinds of memories coming up in the future. And I think it's hilarious because here we go again, right? Like Thelma and Louise, Pinky and the Brain, just trying to take over the
Yep.
world, doing it our way. And we've done it unabashed this entire time.
It's been fun. It's been
I
fun.
love it. I love it. But you know what? Muse wouldn't be what it is without the customers. And I think
Absolutely.
we owe a huge thank you to them as well, because there are some that, like, I've already started getting the DMs when they've seen us posting about our 15-year anniversary party, where they're like, 15 years already. I remember coming in when you guys first opened. And I'm like, who? I mean, there's a few
It's
people I've been a
crazy.
customer of for 15 plus years, my hairdresser, but
Right.
like very, very few. And our clients are so beautifully loyal. It is so fabulous. We're
It
so
is.
blessed.
Well, I mean, that brings me right back to opening day, which we have
Yeah,
talked about before. But we were dressed much like this,
much like
overdressed for
this.
the overdressed for the occasion at like 8 a.m. though.
Yeah,
And there was so much anticipation and excitement around the day. And I think a lot of you will remember we spoke about there was not a flood of clients that we had hoped would be rushing our doors. But it was a slow climb, but we got there and all the bumps in the road. You know what? I wouldn't change any of them. It made Muse Muse. It has changed me as an individual, and I'm sure yourself as well. It's all just been like an
very
amazing
much.
journey.
It's been so special and so chaotic and so amazing. And I'll say it a million times over. Netflix, one day we're having a series because the drama, like we're finishing up season 1 today, but the drama continues. We have so many more stories, so many more episodes, so many more topics that we want to touch on, guests we're gonna have on. I think season 2 is gonna be bigger and badder and sexier than ever. And I feel like it's also inspired so many others. We get amazing feedback. We hear beautiful things from customers, from casual fans or viewers, people overseas that will never walk in Muse's doors, even girls and girls in
Mhm.
the industry, girls that have nothing to do with the industry, subscribe to the Patreon just because they like the channel. And each and every time we get some feedback, my heart melts. It's motivating. I want to jump in and do another recording day. Like it totally gasses me up and I'm excited. And I love that people are so invested. It's beautiful.
I agree. I agree.
I
Well,
have one story to tell
yeah.
from a client, if I can interject it here, because
Okay.
it took a bit to get the right story, I think. And this one is just so sweet and so reflective of our customers. It shatters stigma and really shows what a client of a parlor could be like, but also the quality of gentlemen that we collect at Muse and really appeal to. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to read. It's long. Strap in. It was after I found out my wife was cheating on me, and after discussing with her, we decided to have an open marriage. So I started researching erotic massage spas way back in 2021 and decided to try some of them out. I found a couple in Toronto and outside the city that were okay, but after more research, I decided to start a Twitter account of all things and start to pose some questions. My first introduction to Muse Massage Spa was when I created my Twitter persona and started to get followers, one of which was Muse Spa. Of course, because we love that. Hi, Jen. How are you? The person who was answering my questions was quite educating and informative. And after some DMs and getting an education about the industry from this individual, I decided to venture out. I went out in Ottawa, which is closer to his neck of the woods, to visit some of my family and Googled erotic spas. I found one, and I actually learned a few more things from an attendant there. And I actually know what spa that is, and it's one of our friends. So shout out
Yeah.
to Ottawa. I started researching more about Muse and getting more info from my new friend. She introduced herself as Emily. Hmm. And because of the way she answered my questions and our conversations, I was smitten. I hoped she was actually a massage attendant that I could experience. And then she told me she was just the owner. I was crushed.
You missed the
Thanks, guys.
boat.
I still appreciate the shout out and the ask. I'll never be mad at the ask. The answer is no, but I like the ask. um, I'm feeling crushed. I tried out a couple other spas and found it pleasurable, but then I started to get massage attendants from Muse following me, and I posed more questions on Twitter. I got answers from these ladies and finally decided to give Muse a try. Took you long enough. Anyways, I would still frequent other spas for a different experience to kind of compare, but after over a dozen different spas, plenty of different ladies, I found the ladies at Muse to be the sweetest, kindest, most intelligent, and sexy ladies. This is a testament to the female owners and how they train and educate their ladies. This is my go to fun zone. I love that.
Yeah.
Emily and Riley have done an amazing job and continue to do so. I love Muse for their owners, managers, and especially their employees. I say this all to say this is now my only go to fun zone from now on.
Mhm. I love that.
Eat
I was just
all
going
the
to
feels,
say, that.
all the
That's so
feels.
sweet.
I think it's just such a perfect little tale of like what the average customer is going through. And I think customers have as much stigma as workers in this industry. People
Mhm.
think of a John as this like creepy, slimy, kind of needy guy. And in fact, it's real world people with real world things. I mean,
Mhm.
how many of us can say we've been cheated on before? And my God, I wish I had Muse as a solution. Whether
Right.
I stayed or left, just getting through that chunk would have been so much better with a
Right.
paradise to escape to for an hour. My goodness. What a difference.
No, I love hearing from the clients. And I think I know the client you're speaking about, but I didn't realize that was the backstory, which is really fascinating that the solve to the infidelity was, well, let's explore being open. And
Right.
and then here comes Muse. That's
And then
awesome.
here comes Muse. It's beautiful, right? And he's made some amazing connections with our staff. And I
Mhm.
like that he even shouts out the managers because there are some managers that know him quite well too. And it's just this beautiful little family that we've created.
Well, I
It
mean, it's
actually brought me to one of my favorite things, which is our hashtag, Muse Rules.
Muse girls. What was the other one? Men of Muse.
Men of Muse. The Men of Muse are elite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the management team, when we've had so many kind of groups over the years, and we have a
Mhm.
phenomenal team right now. I'm really excited about our current staff, both management and muses. But when we
Yeah.
think back, there's been some characters. There's been some really inspirational women on our team.
Mhm.
It's the personalities we've been able to meet is priceless. And I know we
Yeah.
often curse owning a business with so many women because it can be challenging. That's the truth of the matter.
Mhm.
Um, but really, it's inspiring. Like everything about Muse to me, um, when I'm trying to think about this episode and prep for it, is just inspiring. And whether it's the staff, the people I learn from, you, the clients, just sexual inspiration, like I
Mhm.
love it.
I wouldn't want a different life if somebody paid me 4 times more. It wouldn't have all those multi layers that are so unique. And how many people could say that their career choice inspires them sexually?
Right.
Like, what is this life? It's amazing. Just hearing you say that, I was like, damn, that's gorgeous.
Well, I mean, I think overall, in general, the industry, and I've said this repeatedly and I will continue to, I think this industry has really taught me what it takes to be a good partner in so
Mm,
many different aspects. And especially with the pod, because I get to hear you so much more than I usually do. And I know you have fascinating ideas and thoughts about things that really, again, provoke thought for me. But yeah, when it comes to a partnership, I just feel like it's leveled up my thinking in terms of what a partnership really should be.
I love that. I already think you're a great partner. I've seen you in many different variations of that over the years. I mean, we've known each other so long. Um, and seeing the way you actually put really intentional focus on not just some of the details, but many of the details. And it's because of our customers, our staff, and the knowledge that we get, even down to training, we learn new things, even though we're the ones training. One girl tell a story or talk about where she's come from to find us, and suddenly we have a new perspective too. It allows us to continuously learn and continuously grow. And I often say, I don't ever want to actually think I've seen it all or learned it all. But God, if I ever get that cocky, somebody new shows up and really humbles me. And I'm
Right.
like, wait, you want to what? With who? For how much? What? It's
Right.
we just and then I'm on the phone with you and I'm like, I've never heard this one before. And before you know it, it's a pod episode. We're Googling,
Yeah.
we're finding all the things to go with it, and it's a whole new chapter. And I just love how it's all kind of intertwined. And the inspo comes from both staff and customers in the most like unexpected ways sometimes. I think it's absolutely awesome. We're very blessed. We're very blessed.
I do think though over the years we were very ballsy in the beginning. And I think we are now in a little bit more strategic ways. I think we're a little smarter, I hope. But we were ballsy and we were loud and we were cocky and all the things. But I think when I was writing notes, I was thinking that was us then. That isn't us now. But it is.
Right.
It's just it's a little more conservative. And I mean, even personally, I'll go back. This was pre-children. I had nothing to lose. We were young. If the business
Yeah.
failed, okay, let's move on. We could make those decisions. And now that
Yeah.
this is our lives. I raise my family based on this. This is our business. And so with that
Yeah.
investment and that kind of thought process, I think we do take a little bit more strategic planning in the moves we make, and we aren't so frivolous in our decision making.
I agree. And yet, here we are. One of the ballsiest things we've ever done is start a podcast.
Yeah, it really is.
But you're right. It's definitely more strategic. It's definitely a little bit more controlled. It's
Hmm.
not so like young and wild and free in that regard. But God, sometimes I would never want anyone to hear our like brainstorming powwows. But if there was ever a fly on the wall, they'd be like, these girls are fearless because we will start at one idea, cycle through like eight ideas, come up with something genius, and then recycle the other ones we just glazed over. And now we've got a whole new session or a whole new angle of pricing or a whole new way to completely change the whole industry. And I think we have to give an absolute like tip of the hat nod to Muse for changing so many things about the industry. And I know it sounds cocky, but my goodness, it's actually true. And that was part of our mission. We saw that there was like a gap in the market. And I remember one of the most specific things that we talked about on that fateful day where we sat with our graphic designer who came up with our logo and our
Hmm.
initial website. And it was like, yeah, but can't it be done better? Like, can't it be done differently in a way that makes more sense for everybody? And that involves supporting our staff, that involves female ownership, that involves attracting better quality clients and being ballsy, innovative, changing things against the grain, ruffling feathers, and taking a stale industry and flipping it upside down. And my goodness, have we ever?
Hmm. And it really was. It was stale. It was the same things over and over, different parts of the city. And the mixer, we've talked about it. We've talked about our all-inclusive pricing structure. These are major things that changed the sex industry in Ontario forever.
Yeah,
I mean, the mixer was so innovative, and we've come up with sessions since. I think our most recent, in terms of like level of success, would be the centerfold.
yeah,
Um, Like it really is popular and it's awesome, but the mixer will always take the cake for me because it was the first. And beyond just
Yeah.
regular sessions or duos, that was kind of it. And now the whole industry, is makes changes, and maybe they try other things as well, but it's provoked that change that okay, we can make adjustments to our sessions or add things in and be a bit different. So I think it's provoked change for a lot of people.
It's true. And this pod has like really reinvigorated that line of thinking for us
Mhm.
because there is a staleness that automatically comes. I mean, anyone that's been a business owner, or even in a leadership role, you can get tired of the same old, same old.
Mhm.
And even though our mission was to change the ordinary or the routine, we get
Mhm.
into routines just as much as anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this has allowed us to kind of go back to the beginning. And because of that, it sparked all the same like brain cells, ideas, adrenaline. Like we had been pretty stale in terms of creativity. I mean, pandemic aside, that was just a
Right.
stale chunk of life. But there was like this, like, what's missing over the few years leading up to the pandemic? And then it was kind of like make or break. If you made it through as a small business through the pandemic, kudos to you, first of all.
Right.
You're clarity. But then isn't the pressure on even more to continue to push forward, to continue to innovate, to become more resilient and all of those things? And the pod has absolutely skyrocketed us into that train of thought and
Mhm.
that thinking. Every single week, we're coming up with new things. And it's during our brainstorm sessions for planning this. It's kind of awesome.
Didn't you have some really fun statistics too about 15 years? Because, we
I
like to
do.
toot our own horns around here. So let's give it one.
I love it. I have some really cool thoughts and facts here. And you know what? I was curious a couple nights ago while we were planning this, and I was like, I wonder what like the odds are.
Mhm.
Because I know the odds of like a brand new business, and we saw a lot of the statistics that I can't say um, after and during the pandemic, right? We
Mhm.
saw what small business did, how many restaurants closed down, your local convenience store, all kinds, big box, everybody kind of was affected. But in the overall, I was really curious, like how many people make it this far? Because
Yeah.
I mean, this is our lives and our investment and livelihood, so we're giddy. But like,
Mhm.
how does that compare to the entire rest of like the country? Because are we that unique, or is this like a common thing? So I did a little Googling. You're going to find this interesting because only 25% of small businesses make it to 15 years. And if you take out businesses that only sell product and focus only on service, which is what we do, that drops even more so to 35%. Or no, sorry, 35% was for small businesses and service-based drops to 25.
Wow.
Um, I also learned that only 34% make it to 10 years and 19% make it to 20 years.
Mhm.
So the longer you're in business, your odds shorten, which seems weird because
Mhm.
wouldn't that build more roots and stability? But I digress. 50% of businesses fail, and small businesses fail in their first 5 years, which is jarring to even learn. And I did a bit of a tally on what 15 years means and time frames because to us we go through week by week and we do our schedule 2 weeks in advance. So it always seems like we're ahead. Like we're already well into June in terms of our business planning. We're already well into the next quarter in terms of marketing and like financials. And we're always ahead of the game that you don't really take in the present. So, June 3rd, 2024, the day that this episode is coming out, is the actual technical birthday. June 6th is our anniversary party. Everyone needs to be there. But on that exact day, we will hit 180 months in business. So 15 years, 180 months. It is 780 weeks, which means, guys, Riley has made
Wow.
780 schedules.
Shoot me now.
Kill me now because doing the schedule is the worst. It's been 5,475 days of Muse.
Wow.
and 131,400 hours.
Wow. I like that with the hours.
A labor of love indeed.
Yeah.
So kudos to us. Little pat on the back because those are some killer stats. And less than 35 to 25%, 25 to 35% of people will ever experience that if they take the plunge into small business ownership.
Well, listen, I think part of that, yes, and cheers to you. Um, I think having two of us, I couldn't do it alone. I literally could not do this job alone. So I think those percentages are probably people that own businesses solo. Um, and I also think these are the first, there's a great majority that close within the first 5 years. Well, that should have been us if you've watched back to
Right?
the early episodes, right? So we did overcome that, but it very well could have been us closing in those first 5 years.
It could have, it probably should have if
Right.
the stayers had their way about it. The odds were definitely stacked against us. And our loud and proudness increased those percentages for sure. Because had
Mhm.
we been dating little wallflowers, nobody would have cared. Wallflowers we could never be. But like, I still think back on that fucking calendar where they all laid bets on our demise. And that kind of kicks off the beginning of the hater coalition and the people
Yeah.
and other spa owners that conspired against us right down to today
Mhm.
because we did a little bit of a quasi calculation on some things that we are highly aware of. People wonder sometimes where our social media gets attacked. And the fact of the matter is that competitors pay for that. They pay minions, they pay bots, they pay all kinds of things at a price tag of 10, 15K, what a month? For 15
It's crazy.
years, 13 years ish in terms of social media lifetime. And then we've got all the stories we told in our first, what, 8, 9 episodes of
Yeah.
the investor payoffs, the
Mhm.
press payoffs, the all the things trying to interfere with investment, with our purchasability, with our ability to be licensed, calling every authority on us and all of the money spent, private investigators, researchers, just everything that they've done. Man, with that amount of money, you could take a trip around the world for four
Right.
years. What?
Well, it never ends. And I mean, we don't speak. We've spoken past tense with most of this. And I'm sure we'll catch up on the pod and get you guys up to date. But there's some very real current things that are happening that and it's probably provoked by the pod. We're aware of that. I mean, anything we do, they don't like. We just have to keep being us and keep changing the game, really.
It's true. And we've had a lot of great support doing this podcast. So I'm going to actually shout out some of our contributors, creators, people that have been supportive along the way. I think we need to give a huge shout out to Dean Blundell first off because he's been an amazing support on the back end. He's been amazing supporter of us and our content. He's helped platform us in ways we couldn't have imagined. The tech assistance, the support on platforms where we're getting shit on and reported and all this nonsense. He's really
Mhm.
been there like kind of a big brother, a
Yeah.
protective uncle, and just wants to see great things from us to continue forward. And I know we're both so grateful to him and all of his contributions. I also think we've reacted and collabed with some awesome creators. And I hope those connections continue to grow well into season 2 and beyond. But I think we need to give a nod to Shits and Gigs. They are inspiring, hilarious, brilliant business minds, and have a lot of things I think in store for them in the future. A few others that stood out to me anyway was Man Enough. I love their page on Instagram. Are We Man Enough? Go check it out. I think Dax from which kicked off our men's appreciation episodes, Chris Stapleton, they've contributed songs that we've reacted to that are so impactful to men. I still get messages about both of those episodes in particular, about people feeling seen and heard, which I don't know about me. I've never been a musician, but I would think that's ideal.
Mhm.
And then to connect it to sex work and customers, I think is really unique. And then we've got like sexologists like Shan Boudram. We did Derek Branches. Who the fuck did I marry? Like we've bounced around in content and been able to kind of collab or react to a whole bunch of really cool creators out there. And our creator reaction list is long for season 2 as well. Some people love to touch on some really scandalous topics and they kind of glaze on it. And we're going to go balls deep
Right.
because from our perspective, it's completely different view compared to like societal stuff when it comes to sex work angle. So I'm pumped for season 2, but I really wanted to thank some of these people in particular because they've been so influential to this journey for us.
And I think we're going to do a lot of guests in season 2 that we're excited about. Some we've nailed down, and others we will approach. But it's going to be interesting. And I also, in terms of shout outs, want to shout out to our editor, who's behind this somewhere. We love you, and like without you, we couldn't do it. Literally, Emily and I would be on our phones, not knowing what's happening. She's the best.
And crying most days because why isn't it working?
She's so
Absolutely. She's
helpful.
been a blessing and she is so kind with her time and patience with us because we're clueless and we figure it out because of her. And
Yes.
this would not be happening without that support. So thank you. I know she's listening off camera right now. Cheers to you, darling. We love you. Um, on that note, it is our birthday, Riley. I
Yes.
know sometimes clients like to be a little generous. Are there any birthday presents on your wish list these days?
Oh,
One or two
my
items that
wish
you're like,
list.
would be nice.
My wish list is embarrassingly expensive. So, like, I'm not like a Starbucks card or some bath bombs. No, I want like
No,
that surgery for your eyelids, guys. Hook me up. Yeah, I could go on and on. So I'll just keep my list private because it's a bit embarrassing.
my list is totally vain too and expensive. I'm like, I'd love to have my next
Fair?
Botox round paid for.
Yeah,
Like the forehead wrinkles are coming back. I need to go see our girl soon.
yeah,
But I'm never mad at a Starbucks card either, nor a good mug or cup. We're kind of biased in that regard too. We love merch.
yes. Like
And I
anything
think
that says
season
you.
2, we should dive into some merch because somebody needs to walk around with our microphone all over their chest.
Yes.
Ladies, you specifically.
Mhm.
Let's talk about some of our favorite moments because looking back on 15 years is surreal, I think. And I had a few. I started off with a few, and then my brain got storming this morning because you put the pressure on me to think deeper, and I was like, ah, shit. Okay, I got a bunch.
Well, I think I'm through most of mine.
Oh shit. Well, I have a bunch.
Okay,
Emily's about to
let's go.
talk, but these are going to trigger a smile in you because a lot of them are really sweet and really cute. There is one particular media moment that we have not talked about in season 1 that we're definitely going to include in season 2. And that was 2 particular days where we got our first magazine credits. And I
Mm,
think being written a whole article, whole editorial in Toronto Life magazine was top tier for us, for ego, for career as women in business, and as women that represent the sex work industry and massage parlors specifically. Ego through the roof, was just giddy with excitement, and it felt nice to kind of have tear sheets that we could be so proud of. And then it happened again a few months later with Penthouse magazine, and Penthouse magazine named us one of the top parlors in North America. So those accolades are just fucking phenomenal, and we will in an upcoming episode dive into some of those articles because they were so well written. They were really enlightening and informative. If you don't know, Toronto is the mecca of rub and tugs. Read those articles and you're in the know. Just like
right.
that. You're like, oh shit. So
Mhm.
Vegas is for gambling, Toronto's for massage parlors. Go to
Right.
Atlanta or Montreal for the strip clubs. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. We have them both framed in our office too.
Well, that leads me to the memory I had right under that, because one of the most beautiful and sentimental things that you've ever done as a gift and surprise to me was our office makeover. With all the money we've put into different renovations over the years, our office was always last on the list. And it makes me laugh because isn't that the way it goes with home renos, where like your
Right.
bedroom is like the last thing you think about? And yet it's probably the space you should invest in the most because you
Right.
spend a hell of a lot of like recovery time, rejuvenating time, rest time, 8 hours a day
Time.
in your bedroom.
Right.
We spend a significant amount of time in our office, especially in the early years when we were
Mhm.
there a lot. Um, and I think I was away, and you were like, there's a surprise for you when you come in next. And you had redone the whole office, including getting our accolades framed, some of the first jerseys we sponsored for teams, our magazine articles, some of our first ads in different newspapers and things, and our favorite photos of our social time and shenanigans traveling. We're all in these beautiful mounted frames. I cried. It was beautiful. And it was surprising because Little Miss I'm Not That Emotional was suddenly so sweet and sentimental. It was the best thing ever. That
That
was one
was
of my
fun.
favorite things.
I have pictures. I'm going to send them so you guys can see them of our office.
Definitely. And it's still gorgeous to this day. I love our office. It's tiny, but it's cute and
Oh,
efficient. And every time I look at those frames,
I
my
know.
heart swells like the Grinch. It's just so cute. I love it. I love it.
Me too. We need to add
So,
something to commemorate Muse on the Mic with it or
oh,
acknowledge
we
Muse on the
definitely
Mic.
do. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
need another one of those soon because this is bound to have accolades. And just wait, Netflix. Just wait. Just wait. I've got a couple others that really stood out to me. There was a time that I returned the fluffy favor to you that I actually really liked doing, and it was a surprise for your birthday a couple of years ago.
Mm.
Hey, there's the face. So, for those that don't know, I had asked all of our staff at the time to submit to me a little quick video just saying a happy birthday to Riley. It was shortly after the pandemic. We'd all kind of just gaps in connection, gaps in like conversation. And I thought, what a sweet way that we could reconnect everybody all together, let Riley know how much we all love and appreciate her. And every single staff member pitched in a video. I was able to make this beautiful compilation for you, managers, attendants, everybody. And it was the first time in a long time I really cracked you emotionally because you were
Oh my
like,
God.
how am I crying? Like, what is
I was
happening?
bawling. I was bawling. It was so well put together. It was so touching. Some of the, I wish we could show it. We can't.
I know.
Um, some of them were super funny. Others were really sentimental and emotional. Like it was the best surprise. And I mean, those are the best gifts. As much as I just talked like my expectations are very expensive, it's not true. I mean, there's expensive things I want, but it's the sentimental stuff that matters. There's nothing better than like a good card. Forget the present. Let me read the
Mm,
card, right? It was the best moment. I still have the video. I haven't watched it in a while, so I will today because it always
I
makes me
love
smile.
that.
It was so sweet.
Oh, I still have the individual clips too, and I get a little fluffy every time like I scroll past that album. I'm like, "Oh my God, there's so much love in there."
There
It was really
is.
fun to do. I was so proud of the girls for all having the balls to do it. Obviously, total confidentiality included, and was just for your eyes only. And the reaction was perfect. It was one of my favorite moments for sure, especially because you're hard to crack that way sometimes. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a big challenge. And that one got you. And I was like, yes,
Yeah,
yes, I
this
did
is
it.
Emily is so good at this stuff that then, I mean, as much as I love and appreciate it, then I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do for her? Like, nothing I'm going to do is going to come even close. Like, she sets the bar so damn high. I'm just like, I can't get up there. You're just good
Listen,
at
I
that.
will forever shower you with love and diamonds as long as I live. Just accept it. Just bend over. That's all I have to do.
Oh my God.
Just take all my love. It's fine.
Oh, I love you.
But you know what? You've been with me through some important milestones too, because we are coming up on, well, recording day today is the 22nd of May. We are
Mhm.
coming up on my retirement anniversary,
For
and
29.
that's fucking huge.
Mhm.
And another tearjerker of a memory
Yeah.
because as giddy as I was to close that chapter, I was petrified of what was coming next.
Right.
And yet we were so, I mean, I retired what, 3 days, 4 days before we opened.
Mhm. Yeah.
which made me nervous because in my mind, I was still in like working girl, hustler brain space. And I
Yeah.
thought, 4 days, that's a lot of money to lose not working with a business to open, which I expected to make me money immediately
Right.
in my naivete. And maybe in hindsight, I should have worked 2 days more.
Right.
But hey,
Or maybe like the whole first year.
oh, I mean, no kidding, right? That would have been a much better launch. We would have been busier on first day if Emily was on
Right.
schedule. Kudos to myself, but it's true.
Right.
But you know what? We were so, I was very decided on that, and we were so particular about the difference and the delineation between ownership, managers, attendance. And I mean, my goodness, it took us a few years to afford managers, but just in general, those lines were
Yeah.
always drawn. And I like that we never crossed them. I like that I have never had to go back. I love that, like, I didn't end up working in my own parlor. Like, we've
Right.
seen it happen with people that have tried. After we
Mhm.
opened, there was a few attempts by other girls to open spas, and God, it's not easy. And before you know it, you're back in a room. And I know
Right.
that's what our competitors were hoping for me. That's for damn sure. Don't worry, 4 months from now, she'll have a dick in her hand. Fuck. Same time, I'm so proud. I'm so proud that I did it for 8 years. I love every moment and hard lesson I learned,
Yeah.
even the scary moments, even the negative moments. I wouldn't trade any of it because I wouldn't feel equipped and able to support our staff in the same way had I
Right.
not had that empathy card. And between you and I, we have so many friends that were in the industry too. So we spent years. I mean, we weren't friends at the early years of my career. We didn't know each other, but like both of us on our ends, from friends, from my own experience, whatever, we heard a lot about this business, and we knew
Mhm.
some of the weird, scary shit that would happen, or the grimy things would go on that really led us to deciding, let's do something different.
Mhm.
But the fear in me was legit. I spent 8 years pursuing other career goals at the same time,
Mhm.
but 3 times a week at the parlor, I knew I could make X amount of dollars. And that meant I could support the things I need, the people I need, and all the stuff to dive into a new business, leaving a cash business, minimal savings, just invested and took out loans that banks don't give, so scary people loans. And all the pressure was terrifying. But we take a moment every May 29th to have a little kudos to that. And I will love you for it forever because it is a milestone and it is an accomplishment. And we've seen many girls I used to work with are still working in the business. And
Mhm.
if they're happy, awesome. But
Yeah.
if they're not and they feel stuck, that makes me sad. And I really think that we've been able to platform a space for girls to launch other career goals off of the money they make at Muse and off of the
Mhm.
life lessons they learn at Muse. And I
Right.
know between the two of us, we have a few stories about girls that have been inspiring and sentimental and really kind of just heartfelt, proud boss moments where our
Mhm.
ladies amaze us because we think we know it all. And then they come with something else. And I'm like, you just bought a condo in 3 weeks? What the fuck? Like,
Some
they
of our
blow our
staff
minds.
have really blown us away, like with the financial goals and accomplishing them. And we won't dive in more than that, but we have some very ambitious women, and it's extremely inspiring. I only hope that more women that come into this industry just have goals, and it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
savings, but just have goals of what you want to do, because you can leave this business like you did on May 29th and have a business to walk into that you created,
Yeah.
or you don't. And listen, I'm not here to judge, but at the same time, make the business work for you instead of it's just something you did for 6 years, right?
Right. Absolutely. And I think that gets you in and out on your own timing.
Mm-hmm.
I would never, I'm not a big believer in the concept of all sex workers need rescue. I think they need planning. And for some, that may be a lifelong career, and that's the plan. And for
Mm-hmm.
some, it's 6 months, pay my OSAP, fuck off to
Yeah.
Europe for 3 years. Like it really depends what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're able to do that, we're able to inform them and guide them and provide resources. I mean, how many times have we referred girls to an accountant or a lawyer or something that they needed to get to the goal that they were trying to figure out? A tough custody battle, OSAP drowning them. Like, there's so many different things that this job can do for women, that regardless of how someone may feel about the industry, there's nothing comparable to it. There's
Right.
no there's no other way to make the money that you make the friends that you make, be in an environment like Muse, and be able to sleep at night with a clear conscience. That is so rare and so unique. And I think that's why we've been able to encounter so many amazing women. And some of
Mm-hmm.
their stories, I mean, we've had girls that are pilots. We've had girls that are studying to be sex work law professionals. We have girls that are famous singers who are making movies and TV shows and crazy shit there. We've seen them get married. We've seen them have children. I love seeing the Facebook photos where whether it's a night out clubbing or it's a bridal shower, and I can name 8 of the 12 people in that room, and I'm like, look, they're still friends.
It's
Like,
such like a mama bear moment, even though some of them
oh,
aren't like, the age gap isn't that huge, but it's like, oh, my babies, they're all still hanging out.
it's so beautiful to see. And I think people don't expect that. I think the assumption is sex workers are dumb. Sex
Right.
workers have no goals. All they do is some dick suck this, the holes that, whatever. And that's the extent of it. It's like, no, these women are fierce. These women are so focused. We have several that have become massive landlords, people that own multiplexes and
Right.
multi vacation homes, a villa out in Europe, and go off skiing every winter and like living the life because they didn't have, let's say, the drowning of those student loans because
Mhm.
they worked for 3 years at Muse, or some
Right.
like way that it all connected and launched them 4 steps ahead
Mhm.
against like all of their peers, all of their friends. Their friends are probably the ones being like, no, let's do the party at your house because it's nicer. It's because that girl worked at Muse and
Mhm.
was just, steps ahead of everybody else. And when we reconnect with them, whether it's social media, whether it's they pop by the spa to visit, it's always beautiful. There was one of our former muses got married recently. I saw in comments, both of us have been gushing over her photos. And yet, not someone we speak to regularly. She's definitely on both of our personal social media stuff. We check in. I know we both kind of spy and be like, are you behaving yourself? Are you doing well? Whatever. But as soon as that happened, we were like, oh, this makes perfect sense. That's
Mhm.
her type. That's what she asked for. I remember her telling this was a goal. That's what she had for the vision. Like it all just came together. And I can look at so many of them and be like, oh, you did become a nurse, or you did end up moving to Vancouver and opening that company. Are you still making cupcakes? Like there's
Mhm.
cute little things every day with our girls that inspire me and blow me away because they stay focused. And I
Mhm.
think this industry can really take you away from that if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's true.
So beautiful. Muse rules. This is why we say Muse rules.
Yeah.
Do you remember the early days when we were only 3 rooms big?
Mhm.
We had 3 rooms and like a garage, like a concrete section at the back that was undeveloped. Um, and that's where not only did we have photo shoots because it was just
Mhm.
open, lofty space, but when it rained too much, the walls would weep.
Did they?
Remember the water just running down the walls in the back garage?
I remember it happening in the spa, like in the
In the
bilge
spot.
area. The ceiling tiles were always like drooping.
And do you remember the laundry lines that we had originally?
Yes, I do.
Our humble beginnings had a home-based secondhand washer and dryer. And of course, that can't keep up because eventually we got busy and we overnight would have to hang things. And we had these, like, what was it, like 8 rows of just laundry lines that we would have to hang dry our fucking laundry.
Oh
But
my
what an
God.
amazing problem to have at the time. Laundry, as y'all know, has been the bane of our existence. And I feel like those laundry lines were the moment that we should have been like, ooh, we're going to have laundry problems ahead.
Right.
We never considered it. We just thought, great, we got laundry lines. Just use the lines. They'll be dry by morning. What the fuck? What's your problem? Just fold the laundry in the morning. Like to us, it was like a no-brainer. Hindsight.
Well, and I still training with new girls today, and we have industrial machines. My when I go over more like house rules and cleaning procedures and things like that, I always say just keep the laundry moving,
Yeah.
because in a moment we can have a laundry issue. Like it's still this like PTSD from laundry that I just ingrained in the girls. The machines always have to be moving. It's so
Laundry and
bad.
IKEA, totally PTSD. And it's true though. It takes 1 hour or two of things going
Yeah.
behind. And next thing you know, we're in a clusterfuck for laundry. And that doesn't
Yeah.
matter how many linens we have, because we've thought, oh, let's just stock more. There's still a
Mhm.
fucking problem. We end up at the dry cleaner down the plaza doing loads. We end up with managers going to laundromats doing loads. We end up with clients helping us haul fucking bags
They
of
have.
it's a team effort. Muse is a family, y'all. You don't even realize how much work goes into it. But it's those moments that are by far in the moment very stressful, very panicky, very feel like, fuck, I don't know how to fix a washing machine. So what can I do?
Hmm.
And yet makes us get creative all the time and brings the team together in weird ways because before you know it, we have a laundry carpool. And
Right.
when we had Vaughn open and we had 2 locations, there was like a divide and conquer of laundry
Mhm.
and a sharing is caring vibe. And one would pick up the other slack or those machines aren't that busy today, so we'll head over there. And God, the confusion of it all, we literally should have known using 8 laundry lines.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and our
And that's
worst,
one of the few things I don't have a photo of.
no, but one of our worst laundry days is historically our open house. It's our 15th anniversary and it's free door fees all day. So if you haven't got to Muse yet, go. Come celebrate with us Thursday, June 6th, all day at Muse.
From 9 a.m. to midnight, we've got all the girls in on shift. We've got free 30-minute door fees for every customer to show our appreciation to you. We've got raffles, we've got prizes, we've got contests, we've got prizes for the girls. We've got refreshments and all the fun shenanigans happening. Muse is the place that you need to be Thursday, June 6th.
And back up our laundry.
Laundry. Only use one towel in your shower that day, please, guys, because it ends up a problem. It's a real
Yeah.
problem. And of all the things, if you had picked on like my bingo card of as a rub and tug owner, what do you foresee as your biggest challenges? I never would have been like, oh, laundry.
Laundry, laundry, water, and boyfriends.
A million years. Laundry, water, and fucking boyfriends. Ain't that a thing? Um, those were my precious moments, I will definitely say. I do have 2 stories from managers to tell
Okay.
that really kind of speak to some of the sentimental behind the scenes, like little moments that happen that wouldn't even make a full episode necessarily, or wouldn't be
Okay.
something that you'd guess happen in a rub and tug. But I feel like they're sweet enough that I really wanted to include them in this episode. So tune in because here we go. So, manager 1 says to us, getting to know that we as women are not alone in this world. We have love, flaws, we have ups and downs, and being part of a unique family like atmosphere here, not only with the girls and owners, but clients as well. Building rapport with a great majority of clients and learning what makes men tick has been amazing. Also, having girls express how they feel cared about, how they feel nurtured and respected and safe, especially sharing parts of their lives, which means exciting parts, sad parts, scared parts, proud parts. Speaking for myself, I think this is the part I feel most honored to be trusted with someone's heart.
Aw.
Isn't that cute? I love it. I'm like, doesn't that in a nutshell really encompass the manager's role? Because they're
Mhm.
not just a director of, okay, you in room 1, you in room 2, you for half an hour, here over there. They middleman some things, they mediate some things. There are times that girls don't really want to talk to the bosses about something, but they feel very comfortable and connected with certain managers.
Mhm.
And lean on them still as like an advisor, still with that like elder kind of influential role.
Mhm.
Um, Aside from all the chit chat, talking to each other in the staff room. And I love that they trust our managers that much. I love that there's that closeness that if they're a little nervous coming to the boss about something, they can go to the manager and the manager's very neutral. They'll be like, you know
Yeah.
what, I'll speak to them about it. It's fine. But let's deal with this. Let's address it, so that your workday's easier. And they really
Mhm.
care about the girls.
They do.
as well as the customers. So on the customer note, here's my
Mhm.
second story from yet another Muse manager. This is a client named quote unquote Chris. Names changed to protect the guilty. He was one of the first clients I grew a friendship with at the spa. He would come by and keep me company sometimes to chit chat, have a session, and then he'd always ask if I wanted a snack or some tea. Days where he was just stopping by the plaza for lunch, for food, he would still come by, poke his head in just to say hey. One time when I was closing, it was about quarter after 12 a.m. I was about to leave, but I went out back to throw out the last bit of garbage into the dumpster and accidentally locked myself out. Our
Oh,
door
no.
shuts automatically in the back. It was December and it was so cold. So there I was, locked out, no jacket, just the Muse phone in my pocket and my cell phone. I called one of the other managers to come help me open the door, but in the meantime, I had to run to the Tim Hortons to keep warm. Lo and behold, I see Chris in line and instantly felt relieved to see a familiar face. He's like, "Hey," insert manager's name. "What are you doing here?" And I told him what happened. He laughed so hard at me, of course, but then said, "It's okay. I'll wait with you here until the other manager comes." He made sure I was safe. He's such a sweet gentleman. He was so sweet, got me tea while we waited, and the
Oh,
manager arrived. I was safe and sound.
that's adorable.
Isn't it
I love that.
cute? It's so, I mean, that's not a rub and tug story. That's a human story.
Yeah.
And God love the manager at midnight that was like, "I'm coming to let you in."
That's what I was thinking. I feel like, oh my God, I have to go there. I'm not even on shift.
Like my pajamas, just be like, "Ah, I'm coming." Oh my goodness. But like I can picture it. It's freezing. Our
Mhm.
plazas get very dark at night. The
Yeah.
only place that's really lit up that's 24 hours is the Tim Hortons. What are the chances a familiar face, let alone your favorite client, would be there? And
Yeah.
God help him, or God love him, because she felt so safe and protected just by his presence. And he
Hmm.
spent that little time with her. I love it. I think it's so sweet.
That
I
is
hear he
sweet.
still stops by for lunch.
Aw.
So good. I think it's adorable. And you know, it's those little friendships. We have so many girls that have even retired that we know they're still friends with some clients. I'm
Mhm.
still friends with some of my old clients, and
Mhm.
they still come to Muse, which is amazing. Like they still
Yeah.
support. But it's not just the girls and the girly stuff. It definitely is the customers too. We have so many clients we're friends with. We have so many clients we turn to when we need something. I
Hmm.
didn't ask for very much when I was in attendance, but you bet your ass I remembered who was a plumber as soon as I had a business.
Right.
It's
That's
like,
true.
listen, for 8 years I was nice to your penis. I need you to come fix my toilet. Let's
Yeah.
calling in a favor. It's so cute. We have such great
True.
clients. I think there's some podcast stuff that we should reflect on too, because this has just been beautiful
Well,
and
it's
transformative.
the end of season 1. So this is it, folks.
I
Um, but season 2,
love
we
it.
want the feedback. Send us DMs, send us emails, participate, send comments. We want to hear what you guys are enjoying, what you want to see more of, what you're not interested in, or what you really want us to kind of cover and talk about.
Absolutely. I feel like the feedback from our viewers has been so great. And sometimes it inspires the next episode that we're recording.
Mhm.
Sometimes we change the whole recording schedule because
Yeah,
someone came with such a hot topic that we're like, scrap the whole plan.
yeah.
We're doing this first next week. And
Mhm.
it really gets kind of our like wheels turning as well. And I feel the same. I've noticed the podcast is starting to gain a lot of following from other sex workers across the world, other
Mhm.
aspects and sectors of the industry. And I love that too, because we see so many differences and yet so many similarities to people's experiences all over the world. Just yesterday, you and I were exchanging an article about sex work law changes abroad, and the comments under some of those threads are so relatable and so heartwarming. I love every time we're able to witness progression. I love every moment that we see more equality, more acceptance, and more collaboration. I think that's my favorite thing about the online communities of sex work is the way everyone kind of comes together and the more that they're tuning into the pod, I feel like it might open conversation for them. Who knows if they're like, I was watching something the other day and they end up talking to their friends about it. And maybe we can connect more dots, match make more clients, and stress the importance of safety and legality in this industry. I think it's one of our main missions and kind of inspirations aside from telling our story. So, on that note, I think that wraps up our birthday episode. I can't, it feels like it flew by. But you know what? To 15 years more, to all the goals we have ahead, to more changes and more personal growth, more success for our ladies, more love connections for our clients, and more orgasms for everybody.
Yeah. Yes. Cheers to you,
Cheers.
Jess.
I love you.
I
Guys,
love
make sure you
you.
like, subscribe. Make sure
Get
you're
to
following us
Muse.
on all the social media. You can't miss the open house parties. They are fantastic. It's Customer Appreciation Day, just like we appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you share this video, subscribe to all the channels, and we will see you on season fucking 2. I love it. We'll see you next time, guys.